Hello, everybody. My name is Greg, and today we are conducting Imunify Product Updates webinar. Before we start, let's do a quick sound check. You can see chat window in the GoToWebinar interface. Please type +sign if you can hear me, so we can check that everything is working and we can start. Today is the first webinar in this year, and we've got a lot of news. We'd like to share it with you. That's why we start conducting these webinars. And we want to have transparency with our customers and share our experience and best practices and while using application. And also we have analytics, so we will be sharing it with you. And the feedback from you will help us to understand that we are moving towards the right direction, and our application can help you to solve existing problems and issues. So once again, my name is Greg. I'm product owner of Imunify Security, and today I'm going to inform you what's introduced in version Imunify360 4.5, and we will discuss Imunify360 version 4.6, and then during the last part of the webinar we will check your questions and I will answer them. So let's start with version 4.5. This version has been releasing gradually since February 4th, and in a week or so it will be available to all our customers, so you can check it. But in case you want to get it instantly, you can type command from the release notes and get it right away. So as I said before, it will be available in a week, or maybe 10 days is maximum. What we've got in this version, we've got 4 new features, and I'd like to go one by one and explain those features, what they are, and why they are beneficial. So let's start with the first one. It's the most noticeable one. It's standalone or no panel installation. This is a feature that has been requested a lot. So we need to mute. Okay. So this standalone version is not a new version. It's just something that could be installed on arbitrary server that has CentOS or Red Hat Enterprise Linux or Ubuntu or Cloud Linux source, and has Apache 2.4 or higher. So this version allows you to run Imunify without any panel and install it without any panel and get everything that you have in current Imunify360 version. So it's easy to install. You need to create integration conf file to provide some information for Imunify. For example, what type of authorization to use in the UI, what type of what domain to use for web UI, and where to get log files and how to get the list of users. So it's easy and you can install it, and then the whole process is similar to what we have for cPanel and for Plesk and for DirectAdmin. So you will have almost all functionality from existing version. So we appreciate any feedback. Please try it out and send your feature requests or comments on this version. We will be waiting for it. And the next one is mail account anti-brute force. So as you know, there are a lot of attacks coming to mail accounts. Brute force attacks is attack when someone tries to guess password, enumerates a user and try to hack into the account. So we implemented Imunify PAM module for Exim plus Dovecot, and it protects against those attacks. So it's not yet another DDoS plugin. It works more intelligently, and it can differentiate between different type of requests coming to hack mail account. So for example, if we have attack coming from a single IP address against single mail account, we can differentiate it and lock down the mail account and block IP address in the most suitable way for this particular situation. Also, if we have situation when multiple IP requests are coming from multiple IP addresses against, for example, single mail account, we handle it differently. So in this case, we can choose the best way to protect mail account without blocking legitimate user and without preventing him from using regular regular case, like regular business. So it's more effectively than just common DDoS plugin, and you can enable it in the UI or in the config file or using command line interface, which is actually an alias for config file modification. So the next feature is extended IP management. It's actually it has two parts. So the first part is in CLN. CLN is the place where you can buy licenses, where you can configure licenses for servers. So we added a couple of new configuration parameters there, so you can group your servers and put them into a single group or several groups, and then in the Imunify interface you can block IP or add them to the whitelist using these groups. So you can choose the scope for this operation, whether it will be applied to a local server or this IP address will be propagated to all servers in the group. And the last feature for Imunify version 4.5 is proactive defense rules update. We added a lot of new rules to protect your server against all emerging attacks, emerging threats, and a lot of new attack vectors. And also we noticed that there are still a lot of old infections that we didn't cover, but now we can do that. And you can see that starting from version 4.5, we've got a huge increase in numbers of registered events regarding proactive defense. And now we can block them all. We can protect against those type of attacks and infections. The problem is we can help with that only if the proactive defense is in kill mode. So unfortunately, there are still a lot of servers that is using proactive defense in log-only mode, and it prevents us from blocking those type of threats and infections. So I'd suggest to enable block mode for the proactive defense and benefit from it. Overall, we have 77 tasks done for this version, quite a lot. So please install it, update, and provide your feedback against this version, because it's very valuable for us to know if it works for you and have we missed something important. Now we're gonna discuss Imunify360 version 4.6. It's releasing mid-February, sometimes in 10 or 7 days from now. And we are focusing on resource usage optimization for this version and server protection improvements. Also, we introduced 2 new features, and I'm gonna tell you about them a bit later. So let's start with resource usage optimization. So what we've done is we re-implemented part of our components in Golang. So initially they were written in Python, but we realized that it's not that efficient because they consume a lot of resources, a lot of memory, and we want to make our product efficient and effective, and that's why we decided to re-implement part of them. For example, part of WebShield is re-implemented in Go, and we managed to save up to 70 megabytes of RAM, so now it's more efficient. Another component we have re-implemented is real-time scan, so you can see a significant improvement in performance as well as memory consumption, and also we support FA Notify API now, so it's more effective and more efficient. If your server, if your installation doesn't support FA Notify API for some reason, then it will use previous iNotify approach API, so it's not an issue. As for the effective server protection, we decided to create integration between components, because separate components such as proactive defense, malware scanner, or web application firewall, they are good and they are effective, but when they are interconnected and there is some collaboration across the components, they work more effectively. So we decided to take output from malware scanner and use it in proactive defense and web application firewall, so specifically in ModSec. So what we've done, we just use the results of scanner, specifically the part that shows the list of files detected as standalone malware, so the files that are malicious, but they are used as a standalone files, so they are not included into the other files. And we block access to those files from web using ModSec, and also we doesn't allow to include those files into legitimate PHP files. So it allows us to prevent reinfection before they get cleaned. So until they are cleaned by malware scanner, they are not accessible from web, and it's not allowed to include them and execute. So it prevents server from reinfection, and it allows to operate more effectively when there is no background or no regular scan. But I'd also recommend to enable background scan at least weekly. Otherwise, you will not know that you got infected, or there is no way to clean up server and keep it clean. And to keep it clean also, I'd recommend to enable default action to clean up. So when the malware is found, it will be automatically cleaned. So it's very important, and we see that we have a lot of servers with default action just show on the dashboard, which is not effective. So those servers get reinfected all the time, daily, almost daily. So yeah, just to get rid of that malware, you need to have it enabled to clean instead of just showing on the dashboard. And the last thing regarding effective server protection is Blamer. We decided to enable it for all new installation by default, which means we can get more information on the infections and how the malware got to the server, and the full sequence of steps when the malware got to the server. So we know the reason, we know the source, and we know the consequences. So we can eliminate the reason finally and fix the consequences in this case. So if the blamer is on, then we have more information and the malware scanner can work more effectively, and we can create better signatures, better rules for web application firewalls. So overall, it helps to improve protection significantly. So besides that, we have two new features, and one of this feature is SMTP Traffic Manager. If you are using CSF or familiar with the CSF, you should know SMTP management feature. This is similar to what we have in CSF. So if, for example, this is the only reason you have CSF installed, you can replace it with this feature and start using it instead of that. This feature allows you to enable SMTP Traffic Manager to block particular ports, to whitelist specific users, allow local SMTP traffic, and also redirect SMTP traffic to local MTA. So you can prevent spam, you can manage SMTP more carefully and keep it under control. Another feature is mostly for UI, it's advanced reasons in malware scanner. So previously we had not human readable reasons for the malware, so it was hard to figure out what type of malware you have in the report and how to read those verdicts or reasons. Now we have a comprehensive documentation regarding that. We split up reason into the suffixes and have description and explanation for each suffix. And you can read this reason and understand what type of malware has been detected and what you have. But basically, if you are not sure, you can just click the button clean up and clean it instantly without any bad consequences. The website will be operational and nothing will be broken. So we do it very carefully. So you can just use automatic cleanup instead of reading those files, analyzing them. But in case you need that, you can open our documentation and check each reason and explanation against this reason. Also, I compiled useful URLs, different resources regarding the recent release and documentation. If you have any feature requests or feedback regarding the product, please use email feedback@imunify360.com. We will reply almost instantly and help you register your request and capture everything, put it in the roadmap. Yeah, any comments, any feedback are welcomed. So that's pretty much everything I'd like to tell you, and now it's time for your questions. Okay, will you be adding a feature to track spam being sent from server? Okay, very good question. At the moment, we have some feature related to spam monitoring in the roadmap. We will do that, we will implement that. I cannot provide any specific ETA for that so far, but yes, we are thinking about that. And if we are talking about SMTP traffic management in general, I already described how it's available in version 4.6, but if you want more information, like for example tracking script that send a lot of spam or do excessive send out of any emails, then it will be available a bit later. Is there any limitation for no panel version of Imunify 360? We support Apache 2.4 at the moment, and soon OpenLightspeed and Lightspeed and Nginx will be available too, so we will support them too. At the moment, there is another limitation related to WebShield, so we don't support WebShield component for no CP version, but also it will be available in the upcoming versions. So far, we don't have any plans regarding mail scanning, like, for example, scanner via ClamIV. We want to focus on scanning files and scanning memory processes, something related to the threads on server, except the emails. But regarding the mail scanning, we don't have anything in the roadmap so far regarding mail scan, so we're not gonna implement it within the next 2-3 versions. Okay, do you expect implement a vulnerability check CLI to check outdated versions, plugins, themes like CXS use? Yes, we do. We have it in the roadmap, and we already started to work on that, so you can try it out soon. So we will implement it, I believe, in version 4.7 and 4.8. So we will have report regarding outdated versions and regarding vulnerable versions of installed plugins, for example, for WordPress. And also we have some more features regarding that, so just stay tuned. Yeah, we are working on that. By the way, regarding the outdated software, we see a lot of issues that caused by the outdated versions. So it's one of our main focus to protect against outdated versions, because they are used to upload malware, to infect server, and to do a lot of other bad things. So we already protect against that at proactive defense level and at web application firewall level. So it's kind of virtual patching for those vulnerable plugins and CMS. But also we'd like to show it on the dashboard, because sometimes it couldn't be managed within the Imunify. So it should be managed on the client side to update some of these plugins, and we want to show this information, so that's why we have it in the roadmap. So we will show it on the dashboard, and also we continue improving our protection against that vulnerable software. Okay, another question. Is it possible to get a central manager? We are working on the feature, and it will also be available. So yeah, in short, yes, it's possible, and we will do that. Oh yeah, it's just a clarification for the previous question. So pushing blacklisted IP and domain name across server group. So currently we have it implemented. So in version 4.5, we have group management of IP addresses. So just go to the CLN, group your servers, and then within the group scope, you can blacklist or whitelist IP addresses across the whole group. So it's already available. So we need to clarify what means CLN groups. So let me get back to the slide with CLN interface. So CLN is the place where you buy licenses, where you configure licenses against servers, and it looks like this. So you can go there, log in into the panel. CLN stands for Cloud Linux Network. It's a billing service, and you can see two controls to manage groups. So we added those controls recently, and you can use them to group your servers. For example, you can create a specific group with VIP customers and put the particular servers into this group. Then all operations regarding this group within the Imunify interface could be done using groups or local scope. So, for example, if you need to blacklist IP address on all servers within this group, you can do it only once with one server from this group, and it will be propagated across all servers within this group. If you choose local scope, then it will be blacklisted locally on particular server. And the same for whitelisting. So if you want to whitelist IP address on all servers within the group, you can do it using group scope. Otherwise, you can use local scope and whitelist IP address. It was as it was before, just locally on this particular server. So now it's possible to do this like central management for IP addresses, but using groups. No, it's not possible to unblock IPs from CLN. So CLN is just to combine servers, to group them logically. And the REST function is available in the Imunify360 interface. So it's not available under the CLN. So you need to go to any of these servers, go to the UI or use command line interface and do the REST specifically for this Imunify360 part. So it's not available under the CLN. So pushing blacklist IP and domain name across server groups. So it's possible to blacklist IP address, but we are not supporting domains for this functionality. So it's not possible. You can blacklist IP address, you can whitelist IP address across server groups, but you cannot manage domains. If I get blocked on my server, is it possible to get unblocked from CLN? No, it's not possible because CLN is only for billing related things like to renew your licenses or to buy new licenses, to cancel licenses, so everything regarding the licensing, but all function related to blocking, unblocking is available only under Imunify360. So you need to go to the interface and do the rest in the interface of Imunify360. Thank you very much for your time and for participation, for your questions. Once again, please send your questions, feature requests to the email feedback@imunify360.com. And thank you. Bye.